What is up is cake and cookies, cookies and cake, and I dyed my hair. That's why it looks like this. That's why parts of my forehead and skin may seem red. I'm in the process of washing it all off still.
So while I was recording, the color shifted a lot, like it kept going back and forth, and I'm trying to fix it in editing, but just don't be shocked when you see it. Don't let it freak you out. I don't know why that happened. Bear with me, okay, please.
And that's why my nail polish is chipped and my fingertips are still stained red. But anyway, no, not this time. I'm not wearing you. No, it's not gonna happen. I'm wearing a different shirt. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Villains are cool. They look cool, they talk cool, they dress cool. They just have so much aura. Sometimes they be more interested in the main characters. Like, I didn't watch this movie for you, get out the way. So it makes sense to root for the villains sometimes, especially when they're given valid motives to do the crazy stuff they be doing. But sometimes I see takes on certain villains and I end up feeling like everybody else didn't watch the same movie that I watched. Why are we making excuses for her? Did y'all watch Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness? Wanting to be a mother is not a good enough reason to go to another universe and steal somebody's kids. You need to go get a baby alive and sit down. But there's 3 movies I like with villains that a lot of people seem to think did nothing wrong, except they definitely did. And I'm starting to wonder if I watch the same movie as y'all when I see y'all's takes on it. So that's what you're gonna hear me rant about today, okay? Get comfortable. So grab your popcorn, your chips, your chicken fried watermelon. I don't know what y'all are into. I've seen so many excuses for this guy. He wasn't the villain, he just wasn't the main character. Born to be the hero, forced to be the villain. I'd argue that he was born to be the villain, and y'all keep trying to force him to be the hero. I don't think there's a single person on the globe who hasn't seen Kung Fu Panda, but just in case, and for the sake of this being a well-written video, here's a little breakdown of Tai Lung's character. In the movie Kung Fu Panda, Master Shifu, this guy, found Tai Lung, this guy, as a baby on the porch. I don't know who dropped him there, but he raises him as his own. He trains him in the art of Kung Fu, and more importantly, he trains him up to one day be the Dragon Warrior, a highly skilled Kung Fu master meant to bring peace to the valley.
Okay, little mistake on my part. Nowhere in the movie does it specifically say that Shifu was training Tai Lung to be the Dragon Warrior, but it is implied that he's training him up to be the best. Like, he tells him he's destined to be the best, and that kind of is the best thing that you could be when it comes to Kung Fu. So I feel like my point still stands.
The title comes with crazy aura, and also the Dragon Warrior is the only one allowed to read the Dragon Scroll, which is supposed to give you like superpowers or something. So, you know, who wouldn't want to do that? But once Tai Lung finishes his training and tries to get the Dragon Scroll, Master Shifu's master, Master Oogway, is like, heck nah. He sees darkness in his heart and he says, you ain't getting that scroll, boy. Tai Lung doesn't really know what to do with that, because being the Dragon Warrior is what he was trained his whole life to do. So what does he do? He crashes out. And I know everybody uses the word crash out all willy-nilly nowadays, but like, no, literally, he crashes out. They get a little vague here. They don't tell us exactly what he did, but whatever it was landed him in jail for life. So it must have been pretty bad. But he gets out and finds out that Po, the main character, is the Dragon Warrior, and he wants to whoop his butt. Ironically, his butt whoops him. But before he even gets to Po, he confronts Shifu, his old Kung Fu master and adoptive father, who he blames for everything. He says that everything he did was to make him proud and blames him for not challenging Oogway's decision not to give him the Dragon Scroll.
You knew I was the Dragon Warrior. But when Oogway said otherwise, what did you do?
Shifu apologizes for pushing him too hard and essentially turning him into the vengeful monster he is now. But Tai Lung's like, F that apology, yo time is up. Just as he's about to choke him out though, that's when Po shows up. And safe to say, Tai Lung doesn't make it out of that altercation. Tai Lung is Tai Long gone. The main excuse I always see people make for Tai Lung is that he was just broken, and the only reason he was the villain is that he just wasn't the main character. Tai Lung deserved to be the Dragon Warrior more than anyone. I would beg to differ. Born to be the hero, forced to be the villain. Tai Lung wasn't the villain, he just wasn't the main character. Of course he's gonna have darkness in his heart if you deny him the one thing he worked his whole life for. Oogway saw darkness in his heart. Oogway created darkness in his heart. He is not a villain, he's just a broken hero. But in addition to trying to make Tai Lung out to be the hero, I keep seeing people try to make Oogway out to be the villain. See, what we're not gonna do is talk mess about Oogway. It's not gonna happen. What's crazy to me is all these comments seem to be coming from the idea that just because you were promised something, that means it was meant for you. And that when you don't get it, it's okay to crash out. Which, no. Now I'm not gonna downplay Shifu's wrongdoing at all. And I'm definitely not gonna sit here and act like Tai Lung is just this evil madman who's 100% in the wrong, because that's just not true. Tai Lung is, for one, an orphan. Either that or at the very least his parents abandoned him, because he shows up on Shifu's porch and that's not his daddy. So his adoptive dad took him in and immediately started training him in martial arts, specifically started training him to be the Dragon Warrior. How old y'all think he is right here? Like 5, 6? And from that age he was already told that being the Dragon Warrior and getting the Dragon Scroll was his destiny. Hi, mommy. You should never raise a kid to be just one thing and never give them any other options, because it bases their whole identity around that one thing and never leaves room for the chance that they might not get it, which is exactly what happened here. Shifu was short-sighted. Shifu was short-sighted and arrogant to think that everything was going to work out the way he planned it to. He also may have been a tad bit on the abusive side, but I don't know, it's all based off of this line.
You drove me to train until my bones cracked!
So Shifu raised Tai Lung to be the Dragon Warrior, centered his entire identity around being that, and when Master Oogway said nah, he didn't dare disobey his master, and Tai Lung blames him for that. It's like, you raised me my whole life telling me what my destiny is, and then when it's time for me to fulfill that destiny, you take it all away from me. That would mess up anyone's head. However, it does not warrant the crash out that he had as a result. Like I said, they were very vague in explaining exactly what it is that he did to the villagers, but we do have 3 things to go off of. This sentence,
outraged, Tai Lung laid waste to the valley.
This picture, look at the crazy in his eyes, and the lifetime prison sentence that he got. Based off all that, I can only assume there was a lot of property damage and maybe some murder involved. I feel like he killed people. Maybe y'all disagree, but come on, a lifetime prison sentence? You don't get that without at least one body.
Okay, so actually I just watched the movie again and I'm 100% convinced now. First of all, the prison that they were holding him in was made just for him and had 1,000 guards just to guard him. And second of all, there's 2 references to him being able to kill people in the movie. First, Shifu says that he could have killed Tigress, and there's another part where Po says he will kill Shifu if he fights him. He's like, Shifu, he'll kill you. So they know that he can kill people. He kills people, come on now.
And yes, growing up feeling like you're not enough until you get one thing, only to realize that you're never gonna get it, sucks. It has to suck. But it doesn't mean you can go around murking people who ain't had nothing to do with it. And that's why all the people saying Oogway was wrong for sensing darkness in Tai Lung's heart doesn't make any sense to me. Clearly he was right. There had to be something there for him to crash out like that. You don't just go hurting people and destroying their homes because you're mad. Like, that's villainous behavior. And I'm not trying to downplay his trauma at all. Like I said, a complete loss of identity like that is no small potatoes. It's big potatoes. It's super tubers. And if he had decided to murk Oogway or even Shifu after finding out he wasn't going to be the Dragon Warrior, I would have understood that. It still wouldn't have been right, but it would have made more sense. The villagers don't even know you, sir. What is you messing with them for? Po and Tai Lung are the perfect protagonist and antagonist. Tai Lung spent his whole life believing he was meant to be the Dragon Warrior and felt lost when it didn't happen. While for Po, suddenly becoming the Dragon Warrior meant he could change into someone he was okay with being, because he didn't love himself before.
Then why didn't you quit? You knew I was trying to get rid of you, yet you stayed.
Yeah, I stayed. I stayed because every time you threw a brick at my head or said I smelled, it hurt. But it could never hurt more than it did every day of my life just being me. Because I thought, if anyone could change me, could make me not me, it was you.
Both Po and Tai Lung felt like they weren't enough without being the Dragon Warrior. But Po learns to accept and love himself as he is, and Tai Lung never does. That's why Po wins. And this movie is so tough, bro. Bro, this movie is so goated, bro. They don't make it like that anymore. And he is cool. He has aura, he has a strong determination backed by a valid motive. But a character can have all those things and still be the villain. All that doesn't make Tai Lung a hero. It makes him a well-written villain. Still a villain nonetheless.
I hope that nobody else ever does see it.
just start by saying, I love Regina George.
But what the hell, boy?
She's iconic. When you think of Mean Girls, you think of Regina George. There's a reason for that. She's an amazing character. I love her. With that being said, she's an evil, self-obsessed wench, and she is not the victim in that movie. Literally everyone else around her are the victims. She's the victor. I guess the right word to be used here is criminal, but she didn't do anything illegal. Regina's the perfect example of a villain who slays so hard everyone starts forgetting that she's a villain in the first place. The way people talk about her sometimes, it's hard for me to believe they were watching the same movie I was. Maybe they saw the director's cut or something, I don't know. That thank you from Regina was actually cute because out of all the girls in the school, she actually liked Katie as a friend even though she kissed Aaron. Oh, I love how she is so mean, but at the same time, kind. I can't help but feel bad for Regina when she says sweatpants are all that fits me right now. Low-key Regina the good guy in this story. Y'all, Regina was a bully. She was fake, she was rude, she was male-censored. Yeah, we'll get to that. And she was manipulative and controlling to the people around her. Mind you, I still love her character. I'm not a Regina hater. I can just actually watch a movie and understand what's happening right in front of my face. I'm not gonna do as long of a breakdown for this movie as I did with Kung Fu Panda because, come on. Even if you haven't seen Mean Girls, you know what happens in Mean Girls. Homeschooled girl goes to a public school and becomes friends with the most popular girls there while doing a bunch of sneaky stuff to ruin the ringleader's life. However, she becomes just as shallow and mean in the process. Alright, good. It seems like a lot of people let Regina's iconic aura cloud their judgment of her, but I'm gonna fix that right now. I'm like Rainbow Dash. I'm gonna clear those clouds right on up. Yes, I watch My Little Pony. Regina is fake, okay? She pretends to be nice to people to manipulate them, which is part of the reason why everyone loves her so much.
Oh my god, I love your skirt. Where did you get it?
It was my mom's in the 80s.
Vintage. So adorable.
Thanks.
That is the ugliest effing skirt I've ever seen.
She's nice to Katie when she meets her and even incorporates her into her clique, the Plastics, on sight. But as the movie goes on, we see that she was only okay with Katie when she was clearly under her. And once she started turning Gretchen and Karen against her and actually started to become more popular than her, it was a problem. I also think Regina only brought Katie in because she was new and pretty and she couldn't let someone that interesting just be running around without being under her. I think Regina didn't want Katie to get the attention that she would have got being the new girl without being her lackey or like being under her. Her being new made her interesting and she couldn't have that interest be not centered towards her at all. Did that make sense? I know it didn't. She manipulates Aaron the whole movie, and we'll get to his worthless behind in a minute, but she didn't even want him. She just acted like she did so his attention would be on her and not on Katie. She was literally cheating on him that whole time. She did not want that man. She just wanted to make sure he wanted her so she could keep Katie in her place. She doesn't even really like her friends, and I'll go further with that in just a second. Dang, there's a lot of things I'm about to get to in just a second. She just treats them nice so she can keep them around to keep them loyal to her. You'll notice that once Gretchen and Karen started looking up to Katie, she started treating them different. That's why when people try to point out little moments where she was nice, it almost makes me laugh because dag, she got y'all too. She's manipulating y'all right along with all the fictional characters in this movie. Talk about an immersive film experience. Don't even need 3D.
One time, she punched me in the face. It was awesome.
Regina's also very male-censored. It's hilarious to me that so many of y'all like her when y'all will also call any woman who breathes around a man without vomiting male-censored. Whole time she's like the textbook definition. Let's talk about Aaron. Sadly, not Pierre. Not Mufasa. Aaron is Regina's already established ex. Okay, she been had him and decided she ain't want him no more. In the movie, he says that she broke up with him for a man named Shane Omen. Omen? Shane? Regina. You really want to be Regina Omen? Let me not make fun of his last name before I find out it has like an ethnic significance and background or something. So even though Aaron is her ex, Regina decides to take him back for only one reason. And that is that Katie likes him. And we can't have that. It's not even like Katie was breaking the girl code here because she liked Aaron before even knowing Regina used to date him.
Oh no, you can't like Aaron Samuels. That's Regina's ex-boyfriend. They went out for a year.
And Regina does not want Aaron like that. So instead of supporting a fellow woman in her pursuit of a man that Regina does not want, she decides Katie isn't good enough to have something that was once hers. And the way she goes about taking Aaron back is what's worse. Like, it's genuinely so slimy, bro. She goes up to him and tells him a bunch of stuff that's not true about Katie to freak him out.
And okay, look, I'm not saying she's a stalker, but she saved this Kleenex you used, and she said she's gonna do some kind of African voodoo with it to make you like her.
Humiliating Katie to get rid of Aaron's interest in her is not very girl's girl of you, Regina. Not to mention what she did to Janis, but I'll get to that in a second. And when she gets him, it's not enough for her to just have him. She has to rub it in Katie's face that she's with Aaron and Katie's not. Why? Like, why? What is the reason for this behavior? Like, seriously. Additionally, everything evil and sneaky that she does toward other women. You never see her having beef with any man. You look in the burn book, they only wrote down stuff about other girls and one gay dude. I've never been to public school. I was homeschooled like Katie, but I've been around enough boys my age to know that a lot of the stuff they be doing is definitely worth a couple burn book entries. But she only went after other girls, with the exception of this guy in the beginning.
So it's settled. So you can go shave your back now. Bye, Jason.
But she did that in defense of Gretchen, and I just talked about how everything nice she does is fake, so I'm not sure how impressed I am by that. The whole fight scene that she orchestrated by spreading the burn book around was her pitting girls against each other. I'm just saying, I'm shocked no one talks about this when it comes to her. Thirdly, and finally, before I get into what happened with Janis, she's just a bully. She's a mean girl. She talks about people behind their backs, talks about people in front of their face. She calls a girl's mom to make her think that the girl is pregnant, which is just nasty. Like, it's an iconic scene, don't get me wrong, but if you really look at it, dang, I could never do that to anyone.
Oh, this is Susan from Planned Parenthood. I have her test results. If you could have her give me a call as soon as she can. It's urgent. Thank you. She's not going out with anyone.
The worst part is that she's meanest to the people that she's close to. She's fake nice to everyone else so that she can manipulate them, but she's openly rude to her close friends and family. The way she talks to her mom, insane.
I'm a cool mom. Right, Regina?
Please stop talking.
I wish I would say something like that to my mama. And she just straight up mocks and insults her friends because she knows they won't do anything to stand up for themselves. Her being evil to Gretchen is literally a key plot point in the movie.
2 years ago, she told me that hoop earrings were her thing. And then for Hanukkah, my parents got me this pair of really expensive white gold hoops. And I had to pretend like I didn't even like them. And it was so sad.
Gretchen's being dramatic here, obviously, but who sees their friend get something they really like for Hanukkah and tells them they can't wear it? Just cuz. That's some sick business, bro. Like, why?
What is fetch?
Oh, it's like slang from England.
So you're from... It was my parents' room, but I made them trade me. I love her. She's like a Martian. Aren't you so mad at Gretchen for telling me? Because if you are, you can tell me. It was a really for her to do. And right now, you're getting on my last nerve. Switch. Gretchen, stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen. Move. God, Karen, you are so stupid. Katie, she's not pretty. I mean, that sounds bad, but whatever. Then it should be Karen, but people forget about her because she's such a slut. Don't invite Gretchen. She's driving me nuts. Boo, you whore.
They were real that day I wore a vest.
Because that vest was disgusting. You can walk home. They say that you're a homeschooled jungle freak who's a less hot version of me.
And finally, what irritates me the most about people victimizing Regina is that in the process, they usually tend to villainize Janis. Not Janis, that's my baby. Regina was not wrong about Janis. She was a psycho in the whole movie. She used Katie to revenge because she was still obsessed with Regina. Bad punctuation, okay? You confused me with that. Don't do it again. Janis's level of pettiness was insane. No, it was all that emo's fault. Meaning Janis. Growing up is realizing Janis was the villain. Maturing is realizing Janis was the actual mean girl. I never hated Regina. She's my fave since I watched the movie. The real mean girl is Janis. She used Katie to take a revenge on Regina. Alright. The common statement being made is that Katie and especially Janis were the real mean girls and that Regina was a victim. Which one, we know that's not true. Regina is obviously a mean girl for every reason that I just said. And two, I think people forget about how wrong Regina was to Janis because we didn't get to actually see it and it's briefly explained without even a flashback. This is what she did, okay? Janis is the first friend Katie makes and the one that encourages her to ruin Regina's life. But she just doesn't do that for no reason. Janis and Regina were best friends first when they were younger. But when they got old enough to like boys, Regina got herself a man and started giving less attention to her friendship with Janis. Male censored. I mean, whatever happened to bros before hoes? Or, I guess in this case, sisters before misters. Regina, what happened to that? And when Janis confronted Regina about that, Regina took it as her being obsessed with her, when really it was just Janis wondering why she was losing her friend to some little boy in the middle of a growth spurt. So what did Regina do? Spread a rumor saying that Janis was a lesbian. And you gotta keep in mind, I know it's 2026 now, but this movie came out in 2004. And mind y'all, this is something that happens before the movie even takes place, when they were young. So this could have very well happened in the late 90s. The perception of gay people was not the same back then as it is now.
Not that I was alive back then, but come on, just bear with me.
Oh, it's y'all month, isn't it? It's not like Janis was gonna get burnt at the stake or nothing, but it definitely could have caused her to lose friends, and it's definitely the reason why she became an outcast. And she was in middle school, which has gotta be the worst time in your life to go through something like that anyway. Everything's crazy enough at that age without everyone believing that you're gay at a time that made a lot of people uncomfortable. So the fact that people call Janis the villain after she went through all that is crazy to me. She has every right to hate Regina and want to get revenge on her. Ain't she steal her choreography for that Christmas performance too?
Does it bother you that they still use your original choreography?
Shut up.
Yes, she did use Katie to get revenge on Regina. I'm not going to deny that. I'm also not going to sit here and act like that's cool, because it's not. But one, she became friends with Katie before she even saw a chance to get back at Regina through her. And two, she clearly cared about Katie as a real friend anyway. Three, bonus, they only really started the sabotage once Katie had a reason to get back at Regina too. Plus, Janis knows what she was doing was wrong. She says it.
God, see, at least me and Regina George know we're mean.
That's the point of the movie, that no matter the intentions, Katie, Janis, and Regina were all mean girls, and they needed to stop. Hey, stop that. Stop being a mean girl. Cut it out. Like I said, I still love Regina. I love the whole movie. You can love traits about a villain that makes them cool without trying to turn them into the victim. Before I get to the last villain on my list, let's hear some honorable mentions. I don't care that he took his wife's last name. He's a deadbeat and a murderer. He ain't even know his son's first name. If the only thing he did was try to kill Remy, that would have been one thing. It's a rat in the kitchen. But he was also trying to keep information from Linguini so he wouldn't get what was rightfully his through his father's will. I don't care how bad she is. She's an abusive parent. This man was parasocial and a maniac. He killed multiple people, tried to kill children, tried to kidnap a baby. Why are y'all sticking up for him? Y'all are sick. Okay, that man is a stalker. Alright, and now we just being racist. We being racist now? That's what we're doing? The intention doesn't matter. You can't just wipe out half the world, especially not when Spider-Man and Black Panther are part of that half. You can't do that. And speaking of Black Panther, let's get to our last villain. Now this may sound crazy coming from me for a multitude of reasons. One, Michael B. Jordan is fine. Two, I actually agree with Killmonger's motivation and most of his decisions. Three, Michael B. Jordan is fine. I know we've all seen Black Panther, but let me look out for the two people living under a rock. I see y'all. Hi. Killmonger is one of 2018 Black Panther's main villains, and the only important one actually. Claw was hilarious, but this movie was not about him. Killmonger, whose real name is Njidaka, and whom I will be referring to as such for the remainder of the video, is T'Challa's blood cousin. But while T'Challa grew up in Wakanda, Njidaka grew up in Oakland, Westside, where y'all at? California. I'm from Virginia. I'm not one of y'all, but it's all love over here. T'Challa's daddy, and Njobu, Njidaka's daddy, are brothers, and T'Challa killed his brother, Njidaka's daddy. It was a quick move to save this guy. I don't think he really intended to kill him, but he went on back to Wakanda, leaving Njidaka home, possibly without a guardian. I know he had an American mom, but I feel like she's in jail. I'm honestly not sure whether the movie said that, or my mom said that to me, or I read it somewhere, or I just made it up. All are possible. Either way, this little boy had to come home to find his father dead and was abandoned by his father's family and entire country. He became a war dog and racked up a bunch of bodies, while T'Challa was raised to become the king of Wakanda and Black Panther. Y'all still with me, right? Hey, you in the back, wake up. Njidaka comes to Wakanda, challenges T'Challa for the throne, and wins. And his mission is to use Wakanda's advanced technology to free oppressed Black people all over the globe. Ain't nothing wrong with his motives at all. That's why I don't get as upset when I see people defending him as I do with the first two. First of all, Njidaka has probably a lot of resentment towards Wakanda and the royal family. And for dang good reason. You gonna kill my daddy and then leave me here without a father figure? Keeping me isolated from that part of my life because you couldn't dare let an American into Wakanda. They pretty much saw him as American before they saw him as Wakandan. Even worse, they put him being American over him being family. They treated him like an outsider even though he was one of them. Man, I'd be mad too. Secondly, his motives and overall intention behind his missions was something that I was 100% on board with. Wakanda started hiding from the world pretty much from jump to keep vibranium safe, to keep it from everyone else. Which makes sense. I mean, look at what Europeans did to China for resources. Look what they did to India for resources. Look what they did to Native Americans for land and resources. Look what happened to almost the entire continent of Africa for resources. If they knew about vibranium, Wakanda would not have survived to become the great fictional fake nation it it is today. So the secrecy makes complete sense. However, in the process of keeping itself safe from the colonial powers of the world, Wakanda ended up isolating itself from the rest of the world too, specifically cutting itself off from the African diaspora when we look at Njidaka's motives. You see it in the beginning when T'Challa and Nakia are talking about the underground work she's doing, and when she suggests that Wakanda provide aid and refuge to other countries.
I can't be happy here knowing that there's people out there who have nothing. We could provide aid and access to technology and refuge to those who need it. Other countries do it, we could do it better.
We are not like these other countries, Nakia.
You also see it when T'Challa's talking to Njidaka.
It is not our way to be judge, jury, and executioner for people who are not our own.
But didn't life start right here on this continent? So ain't all people your people?
I am not king of all people. I am king of Wakanda.
He doesn't think of himself as black or even part of the world's population. He's only concerned with the welfare of Wakanda. So he ends up turning a blind eye to everything else. The way T'Chaka isolated Njidaka from his family is the way Wakanda isolated itself from the world. That was a tough line, wasn't it? I know, I'm genius. Meanwhile, what Njidaka sees is a technologically advanced African civilization thriving while people of African descent all across the African diaspora are struggling and being oppressed. He believes Wakanda should be using its resources to liberate black people, and his motives are very similar to what Nakia was saying in the beginning. The way Njidaka sees it, Wakandans are African people, black people, and it's unjust for them to turn a blind eye to black people who are marginalized and oppressed everywhere else in the world. Man, only Ryan Coogler would write a Marvel movie like this. Now, everything I just said about Njidaka's intentions and reasons for his decisions, I agree with and understand 100%. I believe black people across the African diaspora should be a collective, and we shouldn't isolate or individualize ourselves based on what part of the world we were born in. Look, it's enough people trying to divide us without us helping them out and doing it ourselves. So in that regard, Njidaka was right. Still, the way he went about carrying out his decisions is what makes him a villain. You can't just be killing people, bruh. You can't do that. Well, you could kill him. Have a good time, have a ball. No matter how good his intentions were, you can't ignore that the moment Njidaka touched down in Wakanda, he started wreaking havoc on their entire way of life. He turns Wakabi against T'Challa, kills his own cousin. Well, it was a fake out death, but he thought he killed him. Kills Zuri, takes the throne, which was legal, but definitely not morally correct. Tries to kill his other cousin, and you gotta admit, his plan for getting Wakandan weapons and resources out to the black diaspora was not very well thought out or well executed. How did he know the vibranium would fall into the right hands? He's trying to help the oppressed rise up and kill the powers that be, but how is he going to make sure that the powers that be didn't just use Wakandan weapons to do even more harm to the oppressed? And in the process, he wanted to turn Wakanda into a war zone, which, let's be honest, the Wakandan people were not prepared for that. And the worst thing he does, in my opinion, is order the heart-shaped herb garden to be burned. That herb is what turns the next king into the Black Panther and gives him the superpowers to be the Black Panther. And Njidaka has it burned because he doesn't want there to be any kings after him. That's a dictator move if I ever seen one. Plus, it's short-sighted. When you eventually die, then what? Besides, who but a villain would choke an innocent old lady out like that? Njidaka's intentions were just, but he was too corrupted by anger and vengeance to be a great ruler. Even though his motivations were correct, his morals and character weren't. And no matter what it is you're trying to do, a messed up moral compass will always lead to failure. Something I noticed when writing the script for this video, a pattern I saw, if you will, is that a lot of people defend the villain when they have traits that they like. Having aura, an iconic personality, and good intentions doesn't mean the character can't still be a villain. Two things can be true at the same time. They can have all those things and still be the villain of the story. It's okay to be the villain. Did y'all know that? They don't have to be the hero for you to like them. There's so many villains that I like but still recognize the fact that they're the villain, and villains don't have to be one-dimensional characters to be the villains that they are. But that's gonna be it. But that's gonna be it, guys. But that's gonna wrap it up for today's video. Enjoy your day, enjoy your life. If you like this video, make sure you actually like the video because it's free. Come on, man, it's free. And if you like me, which, why wouldn't you like me? Consider subscribing. And while you're at it, consider hitting that bell for post notifications so that you're here every time I post and get a front row seat. Consider leaving a comment for the algorithm. You know, why not? But I enjoy making this video like a lot. I think this is going to be a good one. I hope y'all enjoy watching it. This has been Cake and Cookies signing out.
Ladies,